probably not until I was a full 22, 23 that I actually decided, you know what? I think I'm a creative. I think I'm a creative person who probably should not. I thought I was going to go to Wall Street. The show Family Ties had a huge impact on me. I was that kid.
Alex P. Keaton.
I was Alex P. Keaton. I wore a tie to school every day. I told my parents I didn't want a backpack. I wanted a briefcase. So she took me to Kmart. You could see Kmart was the river that ran through my childhood.
I was there too. Dude, when they had the Little Caesars in there, that was like heaven. When you got the crazy
I don't think we had, I'm from the South. We had something, I think it was called the Kmart Cafe. And I never forget, this big thing was they sold a country fried steak, which I didn't like as a kid. I was just like, I don't know why we fry everything else. We got to fry this too.
Dystopia tonight. Dystopia tonight.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey, what's going on, man?
How are you, sir?
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Got to say again, I love that sweatshirt, man. That is like just
this
whole
thing. It's what By the way, I used to watch this with my family growing up. Whoopi and Billy and Robin and this was my dad's sweatshirt, which used to seem gigantic, and now it fits. And he's not here anymore, so I don't let the kids spill stuff on it.
It looks brand new, man. It's crazy.
Look, I feel like it might have had some stains back when I found it in their closet when I was moving the stuff out of there. But it's like my holy grail. It's like,
oh man, that is so awesome, dude! And congrats on the second season of Southside, man. That's awesome.
Man, I'm so excited. I mean, people are like, "Oh, finally! What took you so long?" And I'm like, "Pandemic."
yeah, exactly. Where were you last?
Wasn't like we were just sitting around at home, like for no reason.
I know.
But we actually wrote this season in January and February 2020. And then, the world.
Right.
And then we tried to, we had scenes that took place at parades and all kinds of 80, 100 extras. But unfortunately, that stuff had to change. But I think we ended up making a really good season where hopefully you won't notice, I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but there's some tricks of the trade. You can make it look more packed than it actually was at the time we were shooting. And definitely by the time we were done shooting, people started to getting the vaccines, so we were able to put more people into the room. It was complicated, but thankfully after a 2-year hiatus, we are back.
That's awesome, man. When you had all that stuff done pre-pandemic, while you were sitting around in the pandemic, did you have to fight the urge to go back and start re-critiquing what you were doing and maybe rewriting it a little bit? Or
no, listen, like I said, the stuff at the parade, there was stuff that took place at this big concert hall, that stuff. We were immediately like, look, we don't know how we're going to change it, but let's use some of our other ideas. And also we knew that, it's comedy, you could turn to comedy for comedy relief, right? So we didn't want to do something where every shot had people in the background wearing masks. So like a lot of people decided we're going to shoot this and pretend like the pandemic isn't happening. I mean, I imagine if this mask thing goes on for 5 more years or something, I can't imagine that'd be the case. But let's say it did, then you would start to see stuff like that pop up in TV shows.
Sure.
But I think for now, most of us creators are just like, you know what?
Yeah.
That shit bums me out, and let's do something that doesn't have that in it.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't have to be the norm on every single platform. What's weird is how quickly the commercials adapted it. They were like, yep, this is it now. I was like, the cell phone, even before we knew we had to wear masks all the time, like Verizon had cell phone commercials and masks. And I was like, this is not a good sign.
Aren't we just happy that we don't have any of those, in these unprecedented times commercials? That was
yeah, those always bum me out way more than the actual unprecedented times. I'm like, oh,
way more than the death. That was the.
Did you were you super careful during the pandemic and stuff, or
our family was careful. We also have not somebody lived in the house, but a very close loved one who was immunocompromised. So we played it very safe so that we could continue to hang out face to face. But You know, yeah, I mean, I think we continue to, what does it even mean to play it safe nowadays? Like, there are definitely times when, I'm in the grocery store and I'm like, oh, snap, I forgot, my mask and
Oh yeah.
stuff. But I also think that, like, look, I'm ready to get the booster shot, if I'm being
Me too.
honest. So, like, let's
Yeah.
do this,
Yep.
our kids are, I guess now, one of them was already almost 12, so we went ahead and got him the shot. And,
Nice.
we'll probably get the one for the the other two now that they've said it's okay for 5. I mean, that was the nerve-wracking thing. That's the thing I definitely don't miss, was trying to be a teacher while trying to write. As everyone was like, this is not, my kids' grades were suffering because they're just, you can't look at a computer screen all day. So that's what was going on in our household back then.
Did you have the urge to be like, you know what, we're going to skip school. I'm just going to teach you how to write comedy. That's what we're going to do.
I was like, son, I used to read Encyclopedia Britannica, so you've got Wikipedia. I'm sure there's a thing. There's a lot more nudity on Wikipedia than there ever was in Encyclopedia Britannica. There was always like that one section that was like, the anatomy, and it had like the pages you could turn over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember those fondly.
Get to the genitals.
Yeah. In the school library, like, no, I'm just studying.
Those pages always torn out. Yeah.
Trying to photocopy.
How hard up were we? That was. It scares me to think what kids have access to now, but like that back in the day, that was special.
I would, you would think that they'd be bored by it at a certain point, right? Like just immune to it, but I don't think that's ever going to happen because it keeps getting whatever the fetish is or whatever the thing is keeps getting worse somehow.
Yeah, I know. I just feel bad for this whole generation. They've had way too much access way too early, and So, and by the way, the things that I used to retreat into because I was a nerd and just I don't know, I was a late bloomer when it came to that kind of stuff.
Same.
Even that stuff I have to watch with them. Like, nowadays I feel like the kids are really into Japanimation. It's all over Netflix.
Right.
And everything. And so I watch some of these things, and the themes that they deal with are so dark, like the suicide and the self-hurt and like all this stuff. And you're just like, man, can we just get back to, Star Blazers maybe? But no, now we have to watch Attack on Titans and Naruto. So
one of my little cousins went up to my uncle and out of the blue just asked him, she's 6, said, do you have issues with your brothers and sisters? And he was like, where the fuck did you like like what? And it was like she was just watching My Little Pony, but apparently there was like a discussion and he was just like, what do you mean? Like, it would never. And he was like, no, everything's fine. She's like,
no, my kid the other day comes up and asks, what's so funny about the number 69? Why is everybody doing these 69 memes? What's so funny about that number? And I was like, well, you see, son, people love the number 70, and it's just 69 is ridiculous. It's just one short. Like, you just make them fly. You just, I'm not going down that road with you.
What a great excuse.
My lies later.
Yeah. Do you remember a lie when you were a kid that somebody told you that it took you a while to figure out when you were older?
Gosh. Yeah, some really dark stuff that's not going to be funny to anybody outside our family.
I mean, I'm ready.
I wish it was funny. But, you'd always hear stories about like how somebody in our family, she took too many pills. That was what they would say about her. And then later on figured out, that was an abusive relationship, and she might have accidentally taken 30 Tylenols. Like, like it was
right.
Really dark stuff. So sorry, that's not funny. But
no.
But it is funny the things you'll say to a kid when they ask, where so-and-so is. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I totally understand it. I mean,
I'm sure that there's actually, I'm going to keep thinking about this because I think that's a great question. I think that there's definitely some stuff that I don't think I've suppressed it. I think that come back to me later in the episode, and maybe I will have thought of something that was so egregiously a lie, but they were just trying to protect the kid. Yeah.
But it's funny. It's interesting they do that too, because there are those family lies that they tell you that you don't realize until later that you really shouldn't say in front of people. And then there's the ones that public school tells you, or like a friend tells you that you don't really catch on. And you're like, I was fucking idiot. I can't believe I believed that. I remember.
And then you'll be mind blown. You're mind blown when you come to the realization you're 40 years old and you're like, what? I never know.
I mean, the classic one obviously is Santa Claus, and I'll never forget the time that I thought I heard Santa Claus in the hallway until Santa apparently started cursing like my father because he dropped something on his foot. I was like, wow, Santa curses. They got those Dad's curse words at the North Pole. Like it was weird. And then I figured out there was no Santa, so sometimes obscenity.
I found out all that shit wasn't real by asking too many questions at the wrong time. And I was like, I think it started with the Tooth Fairy, and I was like, because I think they forgot to give me like $5, and I think I was running like a racket at the time, so I think they knew that I knew that they, and then I was like, well, but like, it's not even real, like just because I think I was like, just give me the $5 now, I already know, like whatever, and they were like, oh, do you know? Do you want to know something else too? And I was like, what?
Also, I mean, let's be honest. Like as a kid, I used to be like, well, how does Santa get in here? We don't have a chimney. You know, like we give him a key, and then also like logistically, like as a kid, I was even like, how does he get to every house on one night? This doesn't work. This is some,
My nephew was freaked out by it. So he was like, I don't want some strange man coming in our house. So their Santa had to leave the presents at the door. He's like, I don't want some weirdo walking around my house. He couldn't sleep. And then when my niece found it out,
white dude with a beard is going to show up with a bunch of reindeer. Like, I've never seen this in any other context. Why is this normal?
Right? Like, why do we spend money on a Ring doorbell if we're just going to let this idiot in once a year? Oh, that's too fucking fun. I would just normally be like, I think I caught on because I'd be like, my parents argue about money after December every year, so like something's costing money, and I don't think these gifts are coming for free. Whether they're paying this old man or not, I don't know.
Yeah, my toys were never wooden. They were the same toys I saw in Kmart. I was like, this thing falls apart really quick.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's never what they're making in the movies. It's like, I don't know. These don't look handcrafted to me.
This Nintendo was not made by elves, guys. Children, maybe, but definitely not.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's like, first of all, this says McDonald's on it. So I know one of you went and got this as a Happy Meal.
Just copyright the McDonald's Corporation.
Oh God, that's great. When you were younger, what was your thing? What were you into? Because you've done so much. You've acted, you've been a writer for a long period of time, and you also DJ. So what was like the thing that got you into show business?
Gosh, indecision.
And also being a nerd, you said, right?
I was a serious nerd. I actually told my kids this just earlier this week. Because one of them is kind of like I was there. Like every year he's into something new. So one year he's going to be American Ninja Warrior. The next year he's going to be the shortest NBA player since Muggsy Bogues. Like this is how he lives his life. And I told him, I was like, look, I think it's fine that you don't know what you want to do yet, because I'll tell you the truth. I didn't know what I wanted to do even when I graduated from college. I told him I was always just smart enough in my studies to be good at stuff and to receive encouragement to pursue what I was into.
Nice.
But it was probably not until I was a full 22, 23 that I actually decided, you know what? I think I'm a creative. I think I'm a creative person who probably should not. I thought I was going to go to Wall Street. The show Family Ties had a huge impact on me. I was that kid.
Alex P. Keaton.
I was Alex P. Keaton. I wore a tie to school every day. I told my parents I didn't want a backpack. I wanted a briefcase. So she took me to Kmart. You could see Kmart was the river that ran through my childhood.
I was there too. Dude, when they had the Little Caesars in there, that was like heaven. When you got the crazy
I don't think we had. See, I'm from the South. We had at some point, I think it was called the Kmart Cafe. And I never forget, this big thing was they sold a country fried steak, which I didn't like as a kid. I was just like, I don't know why we fry everything else. We got to fry this too. I remember I went from the G.I. Joe section to the Nintendo section. That was my big leap.
Yeah.
But I made her buy me a briefcase of that Kmart over there near Greenbrier Mall. And so I thought I was going to be a stockbroker, and I probably read Art of the Deal by Trump, because that's what you did when you were in the 80s, and it was that and Sun Tzu. And I read Sun Tzu, and I was like, I don't see the plot. So I couldn't get that deep into Sun Tzu. I thought I wanted to be Gordon Gekko and all those guys. And then I got to college. I mean, this went on for a long time. And then I got to college, and I was like, well, I think I've always liked history. So I was a history major. And I thought briefly I'd go into archaeology because I really liked Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But I figured out that anthropologists don't ever really get to live in mansions. And I was a working class kid. I wanted a mansion.
Yep.
And then I did everything. I went to Harvard. I did everything that I needed to do to go to Wall Street after school. And then I surprised everybody by saying I didn't want to go to Wall Street anymore. I wanted to figure out what I was going to do. So I moved to Los Angeles when my sister was doing some assistant casting directing, and then that's where I sort of ended up. I sort of fell into Hollywood when nothing else was really wowing me anymore. I had that quarter life crisis, thankfully, around 22, 23, and that's how I ended up in this business.
That's awesome. What was it when you were in Harvard? Was there something that what clicked that made you go, this isn't for me?
You know what? I don't think I've ever been asked that before, but if I had to, there were many instances where I was like, am I made for this? Like I would meet the other guys who wanted to do, the Wall Street programs and, go to consulting firms and iBanking firms. And, I always thought that, well, I'll just be the funniest guy at the firm. I'll be the funniest guy who does hedge funds. Cause every company's got a funny guy. I just get the funny guy. That's going to be my brand.
Yeah.
And, I remember the summer where you're supposed to apply for your internships or whatever they were called. I forget what the name of the program was, but it was basically like a straight line from Harvard to Wall Street. And I remember I was filling out the application. I was like, God, this seems like a nightmare. And I think I saved myself 2 years because I know a lot of guys who ended up doing that for the 2 years you're supposed to do it. And they, some went to law school, some of them became poets, like everybody. I'm glad that I saved myself that bit of time. I mean, I do kind of wish that I had figured out earlier on that I wanted to write these stories, because I guess the one thing I've left out of my bio is that, as early as kindergarten, I did a book about dinosaurs. It was 8 pages long, but I put a nice binder on it, and the teachers actually put it in the library. And then I did my first novel when I was in the 3rd grade. It was about a World War II spy.
Nice.
About 50 pages, but they put that in the school library. So as far as I was concerned, I was published, and I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know it at the time, but like that was the beginning of a writing career. I mean, like, the funny is nobody really pushed me to be a writer. They were like, oh, you're going to be the next mayor of Atlanta. Like they had all these other designs for me. But looking back, I mean, like I've been telling stories, since I started playing with toys.
Man.
Watch old World War II documentaries with my pop. So, like it's been there from the beginning.
That's awesome, because it's funny that you said the thing about starting younger. We were just talking to Jonathan Stark last night, and he said the same thing. And I feel like every guest we've had on, I mean, I started doing stand-up when I was 20. I still wish I started when I was 17. I don't know what it is about. Isn't that weird? Like, I don't know why I think that would have made more, but I'm just like, man, if I had started when I was 5, I don't know what difference it would have made, but it is that weird feeling that we all have.
No, listen, I can't agree more. I mean, like, I know, for example, my nephew, he wants to be a hip hop producer. He is 21 and he says he's washed up because he didn't make it because apparently there's like a hip hop producer who's like 17 who's like blowing up. That 4 years makes a huge difference at that time. So, because you've only been alive for 5 4-year periods, so you're just like, wow, a fifth of my life is gone. This guy's already got songs on the radio. So, I think we all sort of feel that. I mean, like, I'm always thinking, oh, if I just had a time machine, because I'm like, I would have definitely invented YouTube, like I'm always driving around town thinking, like, what can I do now that I wish I had started now 5 years from now, like I think we all sort of feel that. And by the way, I give you so many props as a stand-up. I came up in comedy doing sketch comedy, which I feel like is in many ways great and encouraging, but it's also easier because you got other people up there. You can, if you're in a Herald, if you're doing a Herald with your improv group, like that, you got other people up there. I to this day, there's a part of me that really wants to do stand-up, but I just don't know how to start that path. And I don't know if I have it in me to do like, okay, so I'm in Tacoma this Saturday, and then I'll be down in Tupelo. Like I don't think I have that phase in life is over. I already got kids. I already got, I don't think I could ever do that. I think I could be maybe that guy who goes up at the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store here in LA, once a month, because
you could absolutely do that.
One of the shows I'm on, and I think I could do that, but I don't think I could do the tour.
I'm going to be at the tour thing. I mean, I'm going to be out in LA at the end of January because I'm doing Vegas on the 29th, and I'm going to go do a stint out west. But you should, I would love it if you came and like did like 5 minutes.
I'll definitely come and watch you do it.
And not just for me, but I mean, like come to one of the clubs and fucking get up. That'd be great.
I would love that. And by the way, you said 2 of my favorite things, which are LA and Vegas. Like I live in one place and I'm always down to go to the other one.
Yeah,
I literally hit up my wife today. Like, what if we got like those stupid tickets on Jet Suite that cost like $600, but like we'll be from Burbank to Vegas in an hour.
Yeah.
It's so crazy on Saturday, and we'll be back.
Man.
We leave the nanny at noon.
I'm telling you, I think you should definitely do it because I think Tom's coming out around that time too, right? Are you supposed to be out there?
Yeah, I'm trying to get down there.
December 29th?
January 29th.
Oh, January 29th.
Yeah, man. Oh, December.
I'll be around. Please let me know.
Absolutely.
Well,
man.
you know what? I'll try and track it.
Okay,
Where are you
cool.
going up at? Do you know already?
I do this every time. I don't have it in front of me and I don't remember, but it's good. It's a good place.
When you post it, when you post this, just flash this on the screen right now.
Yes, that's exactly what I'll do.
Live
where
at,
he's gonna be. It's funny to say about the stand-up thing too, because we've been talking about the mix between improv and stuff. Because I think stand-ups, I mean, for me anyway, like I used to, when I do Boston, I would do Improv Boston when I was there. And it's primarily like an improv club, but they love stand-up. So it always felt really welcoming. And it was weird because most of the time.
You know why that's funny? Because the opposite is never true. One time when
100%.
my writing partner and I, we had an improv group and we got the chance to play the Comedy Store, which is a stand-up venue.
Oh,
so we're backstage in the green room putting on wigs and costumes and like we're getting roasted by everybody who's going up that night. And then, by the way, people who go to see stand-up do not want to see improv or sketch comedy. So we get up there in our wigs and we're like, hey, we're Cleo's Apartment. That was the name of our group. And we'd like to get a suggestion for the audience. And the suggestions were like all mean, like, give up, get off stage.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a brutal environment. And that is funny too. And that comes back to everybody's so nice. Like even the audiences going to that club they just loved comedy. So it was great. And they would invite me on stage with them because I like to improvise in my set. But I think it's like there's two different worlds. And I envied the community. Like I could just tell like you guys kind of exude that we're in this together vibe. And I'm like, I've never felt more alone while I'm with people on stage. But they were great. They were so nice. But it was just like
I'll tell you, wow. Like some of that positive support leads to terrible enabling. Like there's like really funny stuff happening on stage, but there's a lot of nervous laughter in the audience. But I will say, having done a lot of the improv stages here in LA, one of my favorite Robin Williams memories is he was I feel like he was maybe off the wagon sometime in the mid-aughts because for a couple of weeks you could go up at UCB here in LA, and every time they'd be like, we want somebody from the audience. Out of nowhere, Robin Williams would hop on stage. And they'd be like, wow, you want to do improv with us? And his improv was terrible, but he was Robin Williams, so people ate that shit up.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Like, he wasn't yes-anding. Like, it would be like, hey, let's have this coffee at the beach. Like,
yeah.
Do his own thing. Cowabunga, let's go surfing. And you're like, okay, so here goes the coffee. Yeah, but it was great seeing Robin in rare form and with a bright red shiny face. It was
right. Great. Yeah. I'm always jealous. I never got to meet the guy, and he's like one of my all-time heroes. Like just the best. Felt like he was like a gateway drug.
Those great YouTube videos. I mean, there's so many great appearances he did on those late night shows. I'll just go down a Robin hole, and I'm messed up. I kind of like the messed up Robin of like the late 70s. That dude.
Me too.
Amazing.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It is kind of sad, man, because obviously we all know the Louis Body stuff later in life, but it's kind of a bummer when you watch him when he's older. You're just like, oh man, this is so sad. I think he might have lost, some of that edge. And then you realize, oh no, this is a guy whose brain is breaking down in real time. And you're like, that's fucking horrible.
But here's one, if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. If you go back and find like the opening credits of Battle of the Network Stars, which was an old show. I can't believe nobody. I gotta believe somebody's gonna try and reboot that. They could call it like Battle of the Streaming Stars.
Yeah,
the cast of Lucifer versus the cast of Mrs. Maisel or something. But they did one, and I remember they were like, Farrah Fawcett plays golf, and they got all these old celebrities doing stuff, and you're like, I didn't know that that guy could swim that fast, But then they're like, with color commentary, Robin Williams, he's the only person not wearing the uniform that they give you. He just looks like he stepped out of a limousine on fire and like was just running his mouth. It's insane. It's kind of hilarious.
I've
and it's
never
kind of
seen that, and I've seen a lot of Robin stuff, but I've never seen that. I'll have to look it
You
up.
gotta find the one where he's in the Battle of the Network Stars. It's pretty classic. It's pretty.
Some of my favorite stuff to find is if you ever see him at the Oscars when he's like just breaking into movies and he's bored to fucking tears because it's like him and Alan Alda and Jane Fonda, and he's just like, fuck. Like, this is brutal. Like, you could tell he wants to, like, he's probably
is he presenting or is he just in the audience?
He co-hosted with the two of them. There was one of the rare times in the, I think it was 77.
You mean before it was Anne Hathaway and James Franco? They actually tried.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, they didn't have a single host, so they had the three of them host, and you just tell Robin's like
Alda and Williams. That is a weird combination, man.
Oh, totally. Okay. And they don't even know what to do with them at the time. I mean, Alan Alda's a sweet guy, but it's kind of funny because Robin would say like a couple weird fucking things, and Alan Alda would just be like, "Isn't that a thing?" And then like, and then try to like segue into something normal or read what was on prompter.
Now for a retrospective on Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, exactly. Rudolph Nureyev.
Oh God, yeah.
I feel like I know most of my '70s celebrities from the Muppets because dude, it's just like Truman Capote, yeah.
I don't know. I
don't know why they're repeating that to us as kids.
Me neither. Okay, I have a theory about that, and I have not found anybody. I have to get somebody like super old in show business to verify this. Maybe behind the scenes.
I might be able to verify it, but you say it, and then I'll tell you who my source is. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Okay, good. So here's my thing. I think that they used to, because what you just said about the Muppets, why they would show those people, the same thing with like actors in like voicing animated shit. We didn't know who they were as kids, but there's a reason Ed Asner voiced like half of the cartoon landscape back then. I think it's because when you got older, you would hear and recognize those voices, and you'd be like, "Of course, I'm going to watch Mary Tyler Moore reruns or whatever." And you'd be like, "I like this guy. I don't know why," but you would recognize the voice.
I think that to a certain extent, the guests on the Muppet Show were the people who Jim Henson both admired and hung out with. My very first manager in this business was Bernie Brillstein, who's like a legend. In this business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he repped Jim Henson. He told me many stories that I'll never share. But Jim was wild. Jim was out in the streets, and there aren't pictures of him like at Studio 54, but that's his clique. That's his baby boomer time in the light, and he would definitely roll down Rodeo with a Missoni scarf flying in the wind of his convertible, and he was at those times, and those were Liza Minnelli and all those people. Those were his friends.
Yeah, man. Wow. You can kind of get that vibe just from like seeing him, listening to him talk and stuff, and plus like Alice Cooper loved it. You know what I mean? Like the list of guests that he had on the show were comfortable there. Like I can't imagine what it was like.
I think Yo Gabba Gabba is probably the closest thing to Muppets in the sense that like that was a kids show that would bring on everybody from like Most Def to the Killers.
Yeah,
you got the sense that the guy who I forget his name, the guy who does the Aquabats, was really tapped into certain bands.
I got a good question for you. One of the rumors was that when you got to star in the Muppet Show back in the day, you got to choose which Muppet you got more screen time with. Who would pick?
Is that true? I didn't know that. That's really cool.
That's what they said. That's the rumor. That's what I've heard.
I'm going, see, my answer as a kid would have easily been Gonzo. He was my favorite Muppet growing up. I liked his suit. I liked the fact that he seemed weird, seemed like a jazz musician.
Yeah, like, the trumpet he would just whip out every now and again.
He was great. To me, he was in some ways more of a showman than Vaudeville Fozzie. But nowadays, I mean, I don't know if this guy, but the guy who threw the fish, I think that was a brilliant character. I think that's just a brilliant character. What is that character's name?
It's oh God, it's not. It's oh my God, I know his name.
Flash that on the screen. Update. I mean, like just the idea that you have a character who shows up and he always says, "I threw the fishes and the fishes
and they come back to me." Yeah,
I don't know.
His name is Lou. Lou, L-E-W.
Great stuff.
Lou. His name is Lou Zealand.
Lucy. I knew it was like he's from Down Under, right?
I can't believe I forgot that name. That's a bummer. But yeah,
insane.
That's a great one. That is a great choice.
I can't believe that you thought of that.
Yeah,
that blows my mind.
I always say I have three favorite movies, my friends. My three favorite movies are Pee-wee's Big Adventure,
Mm-hmm.
the Muppets Take Manhattan, and
Yeah.
Chinatown. And if I can name a fourth, I'll say L.A. Confidential. But L.A. Confidential and Chinatown, one is sort of like inspired by the others. So
Yes.
it's like a cheat.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're different and they're different enough. I gotta pay a compliment to nerds real quick because I feel like if you would never be able to tell right now that you and I probably had like a G.I. Joe or X-Men lunchbox back in the day.
Yeah,
right? Isn't that weird?
I read X-Men. I don't think I read an X-Men lunchbox, but I definitely
had the lunchbox.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I had a lunchbox.
There's like this weird place
for
in Burbank where you can go and you can find all this memorabilia. They've just got insane stuff in there. I almost, like when I was really feeling myself, I almost got like sort of like one of the Holy Grail items. They have a couple of Holy Grail items in there. One of them is a authentic Darth Vader helmet, like the real live big thing, signed by David Prowse. So that's pretty cool.
Wow,
holy shit, cool. That's awesome. That's the stuff you wish you could.
But they got like old lunch boxes. I'm pretty sure they got a G.I. Joe lunchbox.
Yeah, I had all those.
I had
plastics.
He-Man or Thundercats. I think were my two.
Thundercats.
Love those guys. But then what was the one that they were all sharks?
It was they had the fruit snacks for them too.
Yeah. Gosh, it was like after Thundercats, there was one where they were underwater. They just run out of ideas.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I always think about that. Like at some point, somebody was like, "Guys, the Smurfs are really popular. I give you the Snorks." Like, it's ridiculous.
That's great.
We've lost anybody under the age of 30 at this point. But this is my childhood, and I'm sticking with it.
I hear you, man. I used to watch the Gummy Bears cartoon. I still can. I can do the theme.
Fantastic cartoon,
right?
Fantastic and well told. I think it's. I'm going to be controversial here. I think that there is a. I don't know if it's a cartoon. I think it would be a live action phenomenon if you could somehow bring back Cubby and all those guys, Grumpy. It's a phenomenon. I think it's just as well told as Game of Thrones. I sincerely believe it.
I completely agree.
It's Knights and Magic, why not the Gummy Bears? Who owns the rights to the Gummy Bears? Is it Disney?
Oh, I think it's Disney. Yeah, it's Disney. It was always Disney's Gummy Bears.
Gummy Bears, man, they're all on Disney Plus, and I started watching them with my kids after I made them. I sat them down. I was like, "You will watch DuckTales."
Oh,
and
yeah.
They enjoyed the original, not the new one with.
The original's the best.
No offense to Bobby Moynihan and that crew, but
right.
The original DuckTales with the song that, quite frankly, I think, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Hall & Oates.
Yep.
How did you knew, right?
100%.
The same song.
Absolutely. You make my dreams come true, and the DuckTales theme, same thing. Yep.
I mean, somebody was like, "Oh shit, I was supposed to turn that song into Disney." Hey, get that record player over here. Get that record player. Just play something. What is this? You make my dreams come true? Okay. Doom, 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 doom. Come on, guys. It's Hall & Oates.
Oh, that's so
Somebody
great.
Fucked up.
And you could do that back in the day because there was nobody to snitch, no Twitter, no nothing. Nobody was comparing anything.
I am definitely the police snitch. I'm definitely the music snitch now because guys.
I got one good for you. The end of Jaws, Michael Jackson ripped that off to sing the song from Free Willy.
What's the end of Jaws?
The end of I wish we could pull that fucking thing out.
So you're saying when Jaws blows up?
When Jaws blows up and Roy Scheider and
the shark are falling.
Yeah, well, yeah, not that part. The part where they're paddling back to shore and the credits start to roll. That theme at the end, the John Williams theme, is the beginning of the fucking Michael Jackson, something world song from Free Willy. That was really popular.
Wait, so it's not a song because I was like, wait a second, I don't remember Michael Jackson's song where he sings Free Willy, but
no, he doesn't sing Free Willy, but it's something like
Heal the World.
Hail the World. That's it.
That's
it. Yeah.
And I will definitely check that out.
Oh yeah, you got to check it out.
I love that little stuff. Little stuff.
It's great because I'm always wondering, like, was there any conversation behind that where they were like, it blows my mind. There's a guy on Instagram right now, and I'll send you the link to this dude. He blows my fucking mind because, like,
my wife loves that guy. I know exactly who you're about to talk about
because he's I don't know. He's like I don't know if he does it on his own or what, but he'll go. This song is sampled from this song from 73.
So can I give you guys a full disclosure?
Yeah.
That guy is a very good friend of mine. His name is Luxury.
Yes.
His name is Luxury. I call him Blake. We've been music and DJ buddies for a really long time, and we're actually sort of taking around the idea of starting a podcast where me and him just talk about music because we're both like really big music nerds.
My fucking God,
Awesome.
dude.
Yeah.
That is incredible. I've been following this guy because I have like, I'm one of those people who's got like 8,000 songs on his phone and his car that he's downloading all of this. But because of shuffle, and when stuff comes on when I'm taking these long road trips, my brain just goes like, holy shit, this song's exactly like that song and that song. And I'll just go, I wonder if, and then this guy comes along and it's literally like, they sampled this from this song, they sampled that from that one. And I'm just like, boom.
Seriously, we became closer friends during the pandemic because, his thing was taking off. And I was like, dude,
yeah.
Like you're blowing up now. And then at some point, I don't even remember exactly how it came up, but I think as half the time we would talk about, hey, we're going to make some music together. But anytime we would get together to make music, we would end up talking about, the guy who played the drums on Thriller is actually the same guy who wrote half of, Stevie Wonder's catalog. Like we would just go on these really deep music,
tangents,
high fidelity deep dives. And we were just like, why don't we shop this as like sort of like a fun 45-minute pod. I've never done the podcast thing. It's just like stand up. I think what you guys do is amazing, quite frankly.
Oh, thanks, man.
Because it's deceptive, right? It's not as easy as it looks to actually fill up, the time
right.
Something interesting to say. But I think that I think you guys do it. I think Luxury would do great at it. So we'll see.
Oh yeah,
see how it goes.
I'm definitely tune in. I love that stuff. When I used to DJ, I was all about playing the retro version. So every time something came on, they thought it was the new song, but it wasn't. It was always where it came from.
No, there's nothing. I actually just today found out that Been Around the World and apparently that song was originally a duet with I'm blanking on her name, and Barry White, and it was crazy to hear Barry singing that song.
Wow,
awesome.
And so there's always an older version. It's always floating around out there, and then you hear it and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was one of those people in high school who would be like, because my parents, my mom mostly is like, she got me into 60s, 70s, 80s music, all that stuff. She had every 45, every record,
45.
Oh yeah. Oh man, she just lost her 45s in a hurricane. She's like devastated by it. But and I just thought of it because you said 45s. So like, why did I?
If you're gonna lose your 45s, what more rock star way than in a freaking hurricane?
I will let her know you said that.
Look, if you're gonna lose valuable 45s, go out with a freaking hurricane.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
But I was one of those kids in high school. I'd be like, actually, this is a Gordon Lightfoot song and I would like play it for my friends, and they'd be like, we fucking hate you. And they'd be like,
I can tell you, it was 1998 when I called a friend who was also a music nerd, and I was like, you know what? I think my taste has they've reached the point where I'm having a hard time finding people I can talk to them about.
Yep.
Like it just, at some point you can get so deep into music that you realize, oh, I'm that weirdo who can now only talk to other music people. Otherwise, I'm just explaining. I'm not that guy who's going to just listen to the radio and be like, this is cool. Like, no, I'm officially that dude.
Oh yeah. My friends
when
make
Amoeba
fun of me in the
Records
car.
first opened in LA, I remember the first time I walked into Amoeba Records. I literally I broke into tears because I was overwhelmed. I was like, wow, this is the holy grail. This is what we've been waiting on. And
I was gonna say, I feel like Fat Beats was that was the record store that I truly
on Melrose. When it was on Melrose?
No, I was Fat Beats over in the Village in Manhattan.
Oh gosh, the New York Fat Beats. Okay, got it. Yeah,
which was so it was such a different realm because 45s remind me of. I used to be when we started out, we were all hip hop and reggae. So 45s would come out every week in this little reggae spot that it was just a million different artists over the same track. So you would buy them for $2 each. So good.
Green Sleeves Rhythm.
Yes. Yeah. So good.
Man, I'm trying to think. Fun. I didn't have anything that we had a weird music store called Coconuts.
What city?
In New Jersey, in Toms River.
Well, we had Coconuts in Atlanta. I totally.
Oh, you did?
Coconuts. Oh, totally.
Okay, I didn't even know it was a chain.
I'm pretty sure it was a chain, so I'm sure they were related.
Yeah, we used to go there.
Blue with the yellow sign.
Yes. Yeah, coconuts. Yeah, I didn't know there was anything anywhere else, but yeah, we used to go into there. And then I worked at a Suncoast Video, and I felt like I blew that fucking paycheck every week. I was
Just sign it
basically like
right
I wasn't.
over.
Oh God, yeah, it was beautiful, and all the shit you would see in the back room. Oh my God, that was great.
I mean, here's something fun to do. Look up commercials on YouTube. Like what I used to do, I used to say like commercials 1977. And then you go on YouTube and like there'd be all these things for like now with Sam Goodies or like Record Land.
Yeah.
And then it would always be like it would always come back to Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty. But like really he had a lot of money for commercials. But those are some of my favorite commercials because the graphics and the seriousness which people took to like buying a piece of vinyl. There's nothing like it in the society now.
I agree. Yeah. Do you think it's going to kind of suffer the culture of all that kind of stuff with it being very digital, like the NFTs and
it's almost like I always say that I remember I'm old enough where my mom on every Friday afternoon we would go to the bank so she would take out a certain amount of cash because she said it had to last for the weekend.
Right.
And now nobody does that because we have the ATM, right? So but she knew her banker, she knew her teller, so that was kind of cool. I feel like things change and some things get better and some things get worse. In a way, it was kind of cool that that there were, and there were a bazillion record labels, obviously, but because you had people who could act as gatekeepers, there was like sort of an artist could build up and actually be good and sort of like have that longevity. You know what I mean? Like, now I love the fact that music's been democratized to the point that like you don't have those same gatekeepers saying, well, no, we're not going to let that music come out, but we're going to let this music come out.
Right.
And pre-sound scan. Oh, I'm sure the Beatles are selling well. Like they had no idea what was happening in black or Latin music. But at the end of the day, because there are no gatekeepers now, like I don't even know. I struggle to find new music. There are a couple of Spotify playlists that have cool stuff, but I sort of miss the consensus building that you'd even get from just walking into a record store and deciding, oh, this group on Sympathy for the Record Industry, this band on that label, they're called the White Stripes. You should listen to them. Oh, I really like this. And then you look up 2 years later and they're at the MTV Music Awards. That's gone, in my opinion. I feel like we live in a world now where, this isn't to sound like an old man knocking the new artist, but like it's all just the most obvious pop because there's always going to be a place for pop, obviously.
Sure.
But the other day I was like literally like I want to hear some electronic music that isn't 4 on the floor dance music. Like I love Daft Punk, but like back in the day I used to have the Daft Punk for one side of me, the Chemical Brothers for another side. There was drum and bass. There was everything from like wannabe pop like the Propeller Heads. There was like weird desert music like Crystal Method. Like there were like all these different groups that all fell into electronic music. And I don't know where to get the stuff that's not 4 on the floor. That I can still go to the BBC Radio 1 website and listen to whatever, essential dance mix of the week, or, for a long time it was Annie Mac. I forget the name of the person who's took it. Pete Tong is still there. Right. But that's all just 4 on the floor dance. I don't know where to get new electronic music. I kind of know some places to get new hip hop, but it's tough. I just don't know that sense of community. I don't know where we get it from now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know. I mean, like there's bands and stuff that my friends and I share. Like we have like a tight knit group, basically almost a Dropbox, where we're like, have you heard these people? Which I kind of like. But cool. I also noticed over the years too, like even within that little group, it's harder to find. Like no one's really. You really have to fucking search for new music. Or actually, and
the radio doesn't. The radio doesn't help. I mean, for a long time, KCRW in LA, which a lot of people could listen to online, like that was sort of but I feel like even they are sort of like playing catch up. I just think that, because every single song ever basically is on Spotify, it's just really tough. And I miss it. And, there are no music festivals now. So it's pretty tough.
Pandora is interesting because as much as I know it, they will play. If you get on the wrong station, they're just gonna play the same shit. Every now and again, I'll find something where I'm like, I've never heard this band before. Like if I leave it on in the background while I'm working, I'll Shazam. So I'll notice myself Shazamming something like, oh, I don't know who these fucking people are, and try to go down that. That's how I found Wolf Alice. I don't know if you know that band, but they're great.
But that's cool.
I'll say they're so fucking good right now, and they're not really on. They're like they just got written up in like a few magazines and stuff and Spin, and they're really kind of their new album coming right off of the pandemic, because that was a lot of cool things happened then too, because I feel like people didn't have any studio pressure, so they're just like, do whatever you can do in your homes, and they were like, fucking finally. And they were one of the ones that came out with this beautiful album, and they're touring with it right now.
What kind of music is it? What do they sound like?
It's kind of like a mix where they're of a little bit like electric, but like also pop in there too, and also kind of indie stuff. It's like that's how kind of they describe themselves, like a mix of the three. But
that checks a lot of my algorithms, so I'll definitely check it out. It's called Wolf Alice.
You gotta check them out, man. They're really great.
Wolf Alice,
yeah, and they also seem like they're real artists. You know what I mean? Like they almost like feels like back in the 80s when you're watching them kind of dress up on, so you know what I mean? Like it's all different costumes and shit. And she's the lead singer. Her name is Ellie Rossell, and she's British, and she's like, yeah, some days I feel like Jimi Hendrix, and some days I feel like something like Madonna. Like she's like, I just throw it all together, and whatever the fuck happens. So it's pretty.
That's great. I'll definitely check that out. I mean, girl singers and bands, that's always good.
Dude, me too. I used to get shit on so bad for that, especially by other comedians. They'd be like, this is the 5th girl song that you've had on your... And I'm like, girl song? Who the fuck are you? I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I
was a big Best Coast fan for a long time.
I love Best Coast.
And I still feel like I still want to be Karen O. I've never gotten over that. Never gotten over that.
Oh my god, dude! I had it was so funny. Do you know the band from like early 2000s called Her?
Her?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, Camilla Gray and Leisha.
That's weird, because that was peak band me.
Yeah,
which sounds like a thigh dish, but
I bet you'd know
them. I was really into every band. Go ahead.
I bet you'd know them if you heard them. So I had her on the show, and it was because one of my friends who I go on the road with, Joanne Fallon, got me into her. And Camilla's gay, Joanne's gay, whatever. So Camilla was one of the singers of the song. And now she tours with Adam Lambert. So we were just talking on the show, and she's joking around. And she goes, I was wondering how you found me, because you're not my demographic. I was like, I know, it's really fucking weird. But I was like listing her songs to her, and she was like, I was just confused. But that's great. So it was really interesting. I was like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I got a soft spot for all that. But that's what happened? Did I lose something?
No.
Sorry, I was just thinking about Her, how that slipped under my radar.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's so weird, because I thought you froze, and last night we had so many instances where somebody froze and I was still talking, and I was like,
I legitimately came into the office in Santa Monica, because our office is on the Warner Brothers lot. Terrible Wi-Fi. I didn't want you to have to deal with that. I gave it in.
Thank you.
I do appreciate that.
I appreciate that.
Or he's doing the best Rob Bartlett right now.
Did he really just pretend to freeze? I don't even know.
I think he's legit, bro. He's back.
And then it just crapped out as if I'm cute. That was insane. Perfect. I was like, I came here for the perfect reception, and then you guys turned into swirling squirrels.
Wow, that was fucking nuts. I was like, he's punking us real hard right now. This is great.
I was like, he is good.
Oh my God.
Knock on wood, apparently.
I gotta ask, because we're almost up. Hour's almost up. But you were writing for Jimmy Fallon for a long time.
Yeah, man.
Were you there?
About music nerds.
Yeah,
he's a serious music guy for sure.
He is. I opened for him years ago when it was like the first time as a comic that I got to open for a national headliner, because he was just going to take over for Conan.
Yeah, totally.
And he went back to his home club, because he's like, I'm going to do a tour to kind of promote the whole thing and
go
back to doing stand-up.
Where?
And what did you say?
It was in Socrates. Where was it?
It was in his first gig was in Bananas Comedy Club in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Oh yeah, okay. I think I remember this vaguely. That's where I met him.
Oh, nice.
I that I was the 4th person ever hired for Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, which is what we called the show. But I was there for the first basically 4 years. And I remember those early gigs. That was back when he had the routine where he would play a song about 135 BPM, and he would say you can sing any 80s song.
Yes.
BPM. Yeah,
that's what I was just gonna. I was like, because you did. He did that kind of stuff, which was just amazing too. But you guys did so many good musical segments. Were you involved in that? Your expertise?
Yeah, that was our thing. So my writing partner Bashir and I, we had a good working relationship with the Roots, and if it was music related, typically we could jump in there. So if it was Slow Jam the News, we wrote those. We put together History of Rap because he wanted to do something with Justin where it was like sort of walking through a history of like rap music.
Yeah,
that was like
so good, man.
That was our first really viral piece. What was funny was that was back when NBC was trying to steer all the web traffic to their site, NBC.com. Yeah. So it kept getting posted to YouTube and it get 1 million views and they take it down. 1 million more views and they take it down. So we'll never know how many people watched History of Rap with Justin Timberlake, because for the first year of that sketch, it was always a bootleg on YouTube. Okay. So we sort of missed it. But yeah, we were always writing stuff with the Roots. I mean, like, because Questlove is, obviously the very definition of a music nerd. And so you could go in there and be like, why don't we make a fake Gap Band song tonight? And then that'll be, then we'll put Jimmy in a fro and he'll get out there and he'll sing like Charlie Wilson. Like it was always fun to work with those guys because we were all just a bunch of people just trying to make music like our idols, Drake's coming by. Let's make a fake Drake song, like it was right. It was always fun.
And you did the Barack Obama segments as well.
We sure did, man. I've met him twice, but the time that sticks out is when he was. It was 2012. It was a tight race. We were in North Carolina, the University of North Carolina, to shoot an episode, and the president and his whole entourage and the Secret Service are literally standing all around. You're trying to make jokes. Mm-hmm. Really weird in a very small box of a room,
right?
And we described the humor to him, and there was like this 5-second pause, which felt like 5 minutes, where he was just like this, and he was like, "I think it's funny," and then you're like, "Yes." And then you're looking around the room, and his press secretary is there laughing, and everybody's like, "Yes, he's going to say these jokes." And it was weird to write some jokes that didn't come out of the president's mouth. It's not something you set out to do,
right?
No matter what you think you're going to do in life as a kid.
Yeah.
When it happened, it was pretty special. I'm not going to lie.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that
was there anything you instructed to, like, was there stuff like you wanted to try to get by him, but you were like, we cannot have him.
What's funny is we had a line at the very end of where Jimmy says, "And that is how you slow jam the news." And we were going to have Obama say, "Oh yeah." So we practiced it. Jimmy's like, "That's how you slow jam the news." And Obama said, "Oh yeah." And Jimmy was like, "Hey, do you think you could say it more like, oh yeah?" And Barack looked at him like, "Not gonna do that, Jimmy." I still gotta be the president tomorrow morning. You're not gonna have me say that and have that become what everybody's talking about the next day. So
yeah.
I was very aware of how, certain things in the wrong hands could play differently.
Sure.
But so when we got out there, Obama was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh God.
And that was it. But it was a very funny piece, and it's one of those things that I'm super happy that we got to be a part of because
awesome.
That's one of those big life moments. I feel like
big life moment,
right?
And by the way, did not have to coach Obama on there were comedians who came on Fallon who we wrote for. We had to coach them how to say a line funny. Wow. The man has natural timing. I mean, no matter what your politics are, let me tell you, if you need a president to sell your joke, that dude can sell a joke because he's just got his timing was flawless. Like we never had to coach him. I won't say which comedians we were like, "God damn it."
That's immediately what I'm thinking of too, by the way, just because
I know there's some, but
because the shitty comedian inside me is like, who fucked up?
There were definitely people who were like, "Oh gosh, I'm trying to work in this town." Not that
We'll do that in the green room. John
we'll talk about it after the show.
Burning
you
bridges.
know what? Yeah. If I see this little red light go off,
well, Oh my God. Well, is there anything you can tell us about the second season coming up for Southside or not?
First off, if you haven't seen season 1 of Southside, I encourage you to watch it. It's on HBO Max. And I mean it. The show has never lost a fan. We put our all into the humor of this show. And we cast nothing but legitimate people from the South Side of Chicago for the most part. There might be one or two famous faces, one or two actors on the show, but like literally for a lot of these people, this is the first show they've ever been on. And it kind of stems from that point of view. We were talking about it earlier, I think right before we started recording. Everybody, no matter where you're from, everybody knows that really funny person in their neighborhood or that really funny person in your family. We tried to cast nothing but those people. Like, you know, if we found out that, oh gosh, there's a mechanic over on 63rd and Halstead who's really funny, we tried to find that guy and say, hey, can we get you to just deliver a couple of lines on this show? And I think that's why our show doesn't look like other shows, because we never went through the casting process as far as like, oh, so this guy did a bunch of episodes. I'm only going to name shows I like. Oh, he did a whole bunch of episodes of What We Do in the Shadows and Kirby Enthusiasm.
Oh.
Love those shows.
Yeah.
That's not how we cast the show. We literally cast it out of the community that we shot it in.
Wow.
Just trying to find the funniest. My play cousin, he makes everybody laugh. So we went and found that play cousin.
That's awesome.
And you know, it turns out you guys are real cousins now. But you know, that's how we I think we achieved a level of authenticity on this show that you just don't get on many TV shows on streaming, cable, or broadcast. A lot of these people are raw and cut talent. And
Beautiful.
I think that's one of the reasons why it's really funny. So if you haven't seen season 1, watch it. If you have, what I'll say is that we expanded the universe. We treat the South Side of Chicago like it's Springfield on The Simpsons. So, you know, seasons 1 through 3, you got a lot of Homer and Bart. But by season 4, you know, Superintendent Chalmers is in there and Angus the groundskeeper is in there.
Yeah.
And, you know, like we started branching out and bringing in other characters from this world that we had created. And last thing I'll say about casting that was interesting, at first we considered it a real downer that because of the pandemic, we couldn't hold auditions in person. We were trying to do auditions in Zoom. It wasn't that great.
Right.
What we ended up doing is we went back to season 1 and all the little bit characters, like all the people who had like 1 line here, 4 lines here. We were like, that person was really funny. Let's see if we can give them more lines. And so we went back to a lot of those people. So if you really enjoy season 1, keep an eagle eye, you know, sharp, because what you might do, you might see some of those same people who played minor roles come back in more major ways in season 2. It's just a happy accident that sort of happened from the pandemic that we were able to give some of these, you know, up and coming actors way more material to work with in season 2.
That's so cool, man. That's fantastic. We got to wrap up, but I got to ask you 2 more questions that we ask every guest. You cool with that?
I'll answer them quick.
Sweet. Okay, cool. So first question is, if you can go back in time and talk to your younger self, what piece of advice would you give that would help you out today?
Oh my gosh. Start YouTube. Find a way that people can post videos of themselves and do everything else. You can act in your spare time.
Right.
Can I one more series?
Sure. Oh no, we got go for it.
Yeah.
So I told you I went to Harvard, and when I was at Harvard, they introduced this new product to all the students. It was called Crimson Cash, and I was just conspiratorial enough to be like, Crimson Cash? What kind of evil shit is this? So you guys are putting money on my card, and that's how I'm going to pay for everything from lunch to like books at the Coop. Like, no way, this is evil. This corporation is going to take over the world one day. Meanwhile, I'm flipping through the freshman Facebook like, oh, this is funny. This is cute. Like, if you had told me Crimson Cash was going to be gone by like 2000, but that the Facebook was going to take over the planet, I would have been very shocked. But yeah,
wow.
I would have said, hey, cozy up to that Mark motherfucker, because and maybe some of the residual money will wash down to you.
Yeah.
No, I guess if I have to answer somewhat seriously, the 2 things I would say is get to know your grandparents. They're not going to be around long, and you're going to have a lot of questions. For your parents too. Unfortunately, both of them are gone too. That's what I'd really say. But I'd also say, like, hey, don't think that you have to go into corporate America / Wall Street to make money. Continue to make your friends laugh. Continue to write down stories that you like, because I guarantee you're going to be constantly thinking, what did I like as a kid, when you get stuck on scripts today? I mean, I always go back to try and think, what does young me who doesn't work in this business, what would I love to see happen at this stage in the story?
Nice.
That's really the other advice I'd give.
I think that's great advice. I love the get to know your grandparents and your parents. I feel like
you're the first person to say it. It was very sweet.
Yeah.
I always think like in the future, everybody will know what their grandparents look like drunk and falling down in nightclubs. But right now, I'm like, I don't have one video of my grandfather, and I don't think I have any more than like 2 or 3 of my dad, who passed in 2002 before smartphones were everywhere. So anybody who went out before 2002, chances are you have a couple of pictures of them, but you can't see them walking around talking, and that's really frustrating. I'm always hoping something will turn up where like I have my 13-year-old birthday party, and my dad walks around in that video talking, and doesn't even sound like the man that I hear in my voice, but I was 13. So there you go.
It's weird. Even my dad, like, there's no kid pictures of him, and I can't wrap my head around the idea that there's no fucking photos of him as a child. I mean, he has like 8 brothers and sisters, but like none of them. There's no kid pictures.
When they had 8, guarantee you they like took pictures of 4. That was the ranking system back then.
They kind of look alike.
My sister, I'm one of 6, and my sister always complains. They're like, "Where are the baby pictures of Pam? Where's me?" Like she's convinced mom and dad just weren't that hype on kid number 4. They just didn't take any baby pictures of her.
That's great.
Excessively.
Oh my God. And the second question is, what had to end in your life, be it good or bad, to lead you where you are today?
Oof. That could be another heavy one.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I started acting in earnest about the time that my father died. And they say that there's something about losing a parent that, for whatever reason, makes a lot of people pick up acting. I don't know what that is, but love Dad. Wish you could have seen what I got to do. But I also think, and this is hopefully not me being sentimental, I think that some of my good fortune in this business has been because I've got some extra advocates upstairs, so to speak. So maybe they weren't physically here to see it, but they might be still the reason it happened.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. Thank you, dude. This has been a blast. I can't believe an hour went by again like so quickly. It's crazy.
No, seriously, that was tons of fun, guys, and sincerely, thanks for having me.
Yep, absolutely, dude.
Thank you so much, and definitely hang out. We're gonna do the rapid hangout. We definitely want to learn more about who these comedians were and so on and so forth in the green room. No problem.
What a tease to the people actually listening.
I know exactly. You guys don't get to see.
All right, don't worry. One day we'll be like, get the Patreon, and then we'll talk. All right, man. Thanks so much again. Such a pleasure.
Dystopia Tonight.